Hey guys, it's Ems and welcome back to my reading room. Today I'm going to be showing y'all my January wrap-up and February TBR. I'm going to be giving you a review with my star rating and then a recommendation if I think you should read it or not. So we'll get into this in a second. With my February TBR, it is already February, so a lot of these books have not came in yet or I haven't went to go buy them yet. So a lot of the time it will probably be a picture on the screen with me telling you why and what made me want to read it. With that all said and done, let's get into the reviews and recommendations for January. The first book this month was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I actually read this book in December and finished it in January. I really enjoyed the writing. I loved how fast-paced it was. I really loved the trope-esque, like it was very trope-based. I gave it a 5 stars, but thinking about it now, it's probably 4.5, 4.75. It's definitely not like my favorite book ever. Like there's other fantasies that I've probably enjoyed more, but I just was like on a high and I was like, yes, that book was so good. But sitting on it is probably a 4.5. Will I change it on my Goodreads? Probably not, but you'll know. You watching this, y'all will know. So I would recommend this. I think it's a really good beginner fantasy because I'm a beginner and I just started getting into fantasy and I really loved it. I've heard very great reviews from even people who aren't beginner fantasies, but this was also her first ever fantasy book. I think it's her first ever book in general, and her writing was just so good and I really enjoyed it. It's actually first in a series, so there will be 2 more, and she actually has a novella, I think, coming out called Powerful with the side character in here. And I will tell you, the side characters in this book, like, you'll get obsessed with all of them. Like, I formed a connection with, like, not me personally, but I formed like a bond with like those characters. I was like, oh my gosh, I like you, I like you, I like you. And the romance, I genuinely enjoyed the romance. Plot twist in here, and the ending is like, wow, like you're gonna be on the edge of your seat. You are going to want to read this. So I definitely recommend. And even if you're not a new fantasy person, there's a chance you won't like it, but I really do think most people should read this book. I'm so bad at this. I need to tell you what it's about. This is about Peyton and Kai. Peyton is an ordinary. Ordinaries are not supposed to be in this world. They're kind of like the outcasts, the ones that are not supposed to be near the elites. They say that the elites lose their power around the ordinaries. Well, Peyton is an ordinary, but she's roughing it. Like, she's using her best ability to be like not seen, not caught, not heard. And then one day she is sent to a trial and she has to go through a trial with people with a bunch of powers, and that's really where you'll get the action and the interest. And I really do recommend this book because it was just so exciting to see her go through all of that. And Kai and Kit, 2 of the boys that are elites, they are just so fun. And I really did enjoy their characters, and I really do think that, how many times did I say really? Probably a lot, we'll see. But I do very much think that you should read this book, even though it is a new book. The next book I read in January was Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I absolutely love Lynn Painter's writing. She is just so good at YA books and the fast pace, and the you're gonna see this and you're gonna do this, and like, she really encapsulates young love, and I really, really enjoy just seeing that. I gave this book a 4.5. I was obsessed with Charlie. I really liked Bailey, but Charlie was just, he was so fun and out there, and he really knew what he wanted and he knew what he was doing, and I really love that in a character. He was actually like probably one of my favorite little book boyfriends from January. Any Lynn Painter book will get you right out of a slump. I think you should. This book, better than the movies, The Do-Over. Those are really good fast-paced books, especially with Betting on You. I think you'll form a connection with the tropes in here. I think there's very good tropes where you have Bailey and Charlie, they meet on a plane and they keep randomly running into each other. They see each other on a plane, they see each other here, they see each other there, and then one day randomly they start working at the same place, and you see them go through their ups and downs of kind of, I'd say, frenemies. It's just really fun, and I love just the young aspect of it. It's just so fun to see what these kids who are growing up get up to. So I definitely would recommend this. If you love YA, I think you'll love any Lynn Painter book. And if you're just there for a cozy, comfy read, I would also definitely recommend this. The next book I read was The Nanny by Lana Ferguson, and I gave it a 3.25. Yes, I know 0.25 is probably so annoying, but I didn't think it was just a 3. And I didn't think it needed any lower, but I also didn't think it was any higher. It definitely like was not a 3.5. This was not my favorite book, but also I would definitely recommend it. I think if you enjoy the story and like older romance books, because this is definitely like adult, and I'm more of a new adult, young adult person. So I think if you love adult romances, this is definitely for you. The kid in this book is absolutely adorable. I genuinely adored her. Like, she genuinely was the 0.25. I was like, I don't think if this kid was not in this book, I would literally not have cared about the romance at all. I didn't feel a connection, and I didn't really feel bonded to the characters in any way. I didn't really care about their story, but Iris and the little girl, I can't remember her name, but Iris was another side character, and I absolutely loved Iris. I felt this, like, I genuinely was like, this side character, like, I really like her, even though she was like the hard rock at first. I was like, I absolutely love this character. Cassie in this book, she was going through unemployment, and then she finds a job, and then in this job she finds out that she has a history with the main guy. They met on a website, and then they didn't know anything about each other, but then she figures it out, and you have to go through the miscommunication and the kind of like, I don't want to tell him because I don't know what he's gonna think kind of mindset, which I think if you really love more messy books, I think this is something for you. It just was not my personal favorite, but I definitely would recommend it. The next book I read was Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This book is the second in the Divine Rivals duology. I absolutely ate up this book. I would not get it at this time. I wouldn't go buy it. That's all I'm gonna say. I would not go buy this book right now. But if you do want to read it later in time, I definitely recommend Ruthless Vows. It is such a good story between
Rowan and Kit. Rowan and Iris. What are their names? Rowan? That's it.
Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross is a second in a duology from the Divine Rivals duology. This book was actually really good. I really enjoyed the plotline, the war, the kind of main gods. I actually really enjoyed learning about them in this one. I can't really tell you much about this specific book, but in Divine Rivals, it is Roman and Iris, where they are two typewriter journalists. They use these typewriters that kind of connect, and then they kind of spark a, hey, I don't know you, but you know me. And then they know each other in the real world where they're rivals. And I definitely think it's so good, but I don't really have much to say about it. I did give this book like a 5 stars. I was really into Ruthless Vows. I know most people actually liked Divine Rivals more, but I loved the fantasy aspect of this one, so I would definitely check out this later in time. The next book I have is The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer in the Vancouver Storm series. This book was a 4.75 for me, and I absolutely ate it up. It definitely wasn't a 5 star because there were some tropes or just like specific details in the book that I was like, that's not my favorite. This book is a fake dating trope where Rory and Hazel are fake dating to get back at her ex, and you go through the storyline of them kind of fake dating. I don't know, they're fake dating. Rory is protective, he's fun, they were childhood friends, she tutored him when he was younger, or he was younger. They were like, they're like a year apart, maybe 2 years, I'm not sure. But they start fake dating, and you kind of just see where it goes from there. I really love seeing Pippa and Jamie in this because this is the second book in an interconnected, like, standalone book. And I would still, like, even if you don't want to read the first one, I would read this one. I really enjoyed this one. I like this one even more than I liked Behind the Net. There are trigger warnings, so there's actually, in front of the book, there's a little like QR code thing that'll give you the trigger warnings. So search up trigger warnings before you read any of these books. I think it's very fun and fast paced, and I think you could really just get through this in a day. He is very protective, but she's powerful. She doesn't need the protection, but she'll probably take it, you know, like, I'm a feminist, obviously, but I wouldn't really mind him saving me type thing. But if you like that song, I would definitely read The Fake Out. And seeing her go through her past traumas, his past traumas, those kind of things, like, there's definitely some bigger trigger warnings in here because of like the family stuff, but I really enjoyed it. So if you want to check out a hockey romance, I would definitely check out The Fake Out. This next book is actually my 5-star read of January. I absolutely ate up this book. This is Elsie Silver's first ever book from the Gold Rush Ranch series. It's actually, I believe, the first book she ever wrote and published. I devoured this book. The main character, Billy, she is absolutely girl boss. Like, she's everything that I want to be. She's loud and she talks and she does what she wants. She's very powerful and she's driven, and she's not gonna let anybody do what she's not gonna let anybody tell her what to do, and she's gonna go for what she wants, and I absolutely loved her. Vaughn is sweet, he's caring, but he's also broody and grumpy, and that dynamic is just my favorite. I genuinely cannot tell you how much I really liked this book. You can definitely tell that it's Elsie's first ever book, but I'm very vibe driven. I don't care if she's like, I don't care about the writing really. And her writing is my kind of writing. Like, I felt like I was jumping right back in to an Elsie Silver book because I loved Chestnut Springs, and having Violet in here, just like little bits and pieces of Violet, was absolutely like my favorite thing ever. Like, I genuinely was like, oh my gosh, I love Violet. But Billy was genuinely like, I absolutely love Billy. And I think if you're gonna read anything for like a powerful main character who like does not care, I would read this. She's like, her and her horse, like the little horse is so cute, like just taking care of the horse and getting the horse back, and it's kind of like a reflection in the book. I think there's probably trigger warnings. I can't really remember. I'm such a vibe person, like, I don't know, there's definitely probably trigger warnings. I would check everything, check every book that you're looking for. I loved their banter, the banter between every character in this book. Like, Billy knows how to banter, that's all I know, but Vaughn was also very fun, and he was a little very, very broody and grumpy at first, and you're kind of like, but I was like, I'll eat it up. This book is about Vaughn, and he is trying to keep his family's business from kind of dropping down. His grandfather is caught in a scandal after he's passed, so Vaughn is trying to build the business back up, but he needs help. So he has Hank, who is another side character in this, who wants Billy to go work for them, and Vaughn and Billy do not hit it off at first. He's like, why is she here? So he gives Billy an incentive, and if Billy can fix this horse in a specific amount of months, then she can stay. And you'll have to see how that goes in reading Off to the Races. And I think you should order these books on Amazon now. Look how cute the covers are. Like, look at how gorgeous this cover is. I absolutely really enjoyed this book, and I'll praise it. Keeping up with the Gold Rush Ranch series, the next one I read was actually the second book in the series, which I was so excited for because this is Violet's book. Violet is just this powerful and outgoing person, but she also is shy, and she is seen as this small, quaint girl. And I would say there is a little bit of times where they're like, oh, she's so small, but it really doesn't, like, I didn't get mad at it because it wasn't a lot, but I definitely do see that kind of like annoying people, so I would go into this with caution. The banter between her and Cole is Vaughn's older brother. He's here to help fix the farm. Violet already works on the farm, but they have a past. They met on a website similar to The Nanny, but in this one, it wasn't like fully focused on that, and I really like, this one I just like dug my claws into it. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually really enjoy this part, like, in this book. I definitely like skimmed through a lot of that stuff, but I really did enjoy this. Cole was fun. He was angry. He's a hard-written, he has a lot of trauma. He was a soldier. He was like, his family, the past trauma in him was very haunting, and he needed to go through his therapy before he could become the man that he becomes in this book, because it was so good. They actually figure out that they knew each other right at the beginning, which I think I liked, because I didn't have any of that like miscommunication in them not knowing it's each other. They like immediately knew, set the ground straight. They're like, hey, like, we knew each other. I knew you, you knew me. So I think that's something that I really enjoyed in this book. And they also didn't really like, there wasn't a kid that was kind of like, not forcing them together, but like they were kind of just together because they had to be around each other, and I ate it up. I gave A Photo Finish a 4.5 because it wasn't like, I didn't like it as, I don't think I liked it as much as I liked Billy. Billy was she was my 5 stars. That book, Billy was the reason I gave that book 5 stars. But Violet was also just a powerful main character. And Mira in here, she's also such a fun side character, and you can really, you can tell it's Elsie Silver's writing when you're obsessed with every character and you're obsessed with the world building, and you just know that you want to be a part of this world. Like, you want to jump right into the book, especially with Chestnut Springs. Like, anything she writes, you're just like, wow, like, I am there. The rivalry and like back and forth banter in here is also kind of fun. I really enjoyed like the you know, that kind of stuff, and Cole kind of being broody but also being caring and kind with his actions. Acts of service men, I really enjoy that in a book. So if you like acts of service, I would definitely check out A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. So that concludes our 6 books of January that I read, and now we can get into the February TBR and what I want to read in February. Obviously in February, I want to finish the Gold Rush Ranch series, so I have the 3rd and 4th book on my little TBR. I don't have the 3rd book yet, but I do have A False Start, which is the last book in the series, but because it's the last book in the series and I don't have the 3rd one yet, it's still in the mail, I'm waiting for that to read this. So those will be my next 2 reads that I'm probably gonna read like this week. I'm really excited. This is about Griffin and Nadia, who actually I have not even met yet. So this is kind of spoiling. I have no clue who these people are, but I do know Mira, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he was like kind of like a main, not villain, but kind of like that guy. He's gonna be in this series, so I'm really excited. So this has the main guy of the next book that I'm gonna read's sister in it. So I'm really excited to finish the Gold Rush Ranch series, because that is all I've been wanting to do this whole week, because it took a week for the book to get here, and I've just been sitting here like, what happens in the next one? So, but these ones I probably won't give you like background for, because if I do end up reading them, it'll be in another video. So these are just gonna be me telling you what I wanna read. The next book I do wanna start is I Got ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Destiny and Sarah have both been like raving about Sarah J. Maas's universes right now, and I know that this series is the easiest to get into, and I'm not really much of a fantasy person, but I want to be. So I think I'm gonna start with this, and if I enjoy this book, we'll go into the Sarah J. Maasiverse from there. But I'm really excited to read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm actually going into this one blind as well. The back of this says, Farah hurts a wolf in the woods and then is dragged into a magical land and is a beast. There's a beast. We're excited. Oh, there's a map. Y'all look. Look at that, there's a map. I love maps and books. They don't mean anything to me, but I like looking at them. So that is what I want to get into. I want to read A Court of Thorns and Roses sometime this month. Not the whole series, but I want to read A Court of Thorns and Roses. A Court of Thorns and Roses. ACOTAR. I want to read at least 1 book of ACOTAR this month. I have is The Cruel Prince. I'm not sure if like this is one of those, this is like the end of the TBR. Like if I don't like ACOTAR, I want to read The Cruel Prince, but I think I'll like ACOTAR most likely. So The Cruel Prince is kind of like, I've already read 3 chapters, but I wasn't in this kind of fantasy mood. So we'll have to see if I do end up reading The Cruel Prince anytime this month. But I think if I start ACOTAR, I'm not going to be able to go into 2 fantasies, because I'll be like, if I want to read a book, it'll probably be like a romance book in between fantasy. So we will see if I end up reading The Cruel Prince. But I do know that this is about Jude, and her 2 sisters are going to live in High Court Fairy Place, and she has to like beat a guy. I don't know. This is, we'll see if I read that. That's actually one of the ones that are kind of like, maybe. The next book on my TBR is Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which is a fantasy book, but I think because it's her first fantasy, I'll probably be able to read it in between other fantasies. And I'm really excited to see Ali Hazelwood dip into a new genre, because I absolutely love all her STEM romances, and you know, I'm ready for a switch up. and her YA romance. I actually really enjoyed that one as well. Well, YA, but I really enjoyed Check and Mate as well. So I'm really excited for that. And then the next book is Once Upon a Leap Year. I know zero about this book. I think I just saw it had a pretty cover, and I was like, that'll be a good palette cleanser. So hopefully it'll be a good palette cleanser, and we will see. I have to buy these books, and if I somehow fall into ACOTAR, there's a chance that I don't read anything but Sarah J. Maas this month. Besides Elsie Silver, there's a chance that it's like Elsie Silver, Sarah J. Maas, and like maybe Allie Hazelwood. So thank you guys for watching this video. I really enjoyed giving you some recommendations. Let me know how more in-depth I should go, if y'all have any recommendations about how I should kind of like describe these books to you, because I'm still like learning. I'm not sure exactly how to recommend them, because I definitely am like, well, there's tropes, but those kind of spoil, and then there's this and there's that. So I think I'm gonna work on that, and I really hope y'all still want to keep watching. I hope I recommended you a book that maybe you want to read, and I hope that I get through my February TBR. Don't forget to comment down below what your recommendations for me are. Like, if you've read ACOTAR, tell me if I should read ACOTAR. If you've read The Cruel Prince, tell me if I should read The Cruel Prince. And also in the comments, you can tell me if you want to read any of the books that I recommended, and maybe I'll give y'all a little more in depth in the comments. But thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one, and bye. See you later.